Article 4, as printed in the warrant, is a request to appropriate and/or borrow the sum of $3,115,470 towards the completion of 4 major infrastructure projects listed as items A through D in your warrant. Because this will involve incurring long-term debt, a 2/3 majority is required. The Select Board will move to pass over item A, the $1 million for design work for the Public Works facility, and will bring it back at a later date after more study. So I will not address that item. Thus, the ask for this year will be for $2,115,470. This has been recommended by the Select Board and the Finance Committee. Item B, Kelly's Corner pedestrian lights, requests the reallocation of $473,000 from previously approved articles and $505,000 of new borrowing to pay for 92 pedestrian streetlights in the Kelly's Corner project. This proposal has been recommended by the Kelly's Corner Steering Committee, the Select Board, and the Finance Committee. The state has pledged approximately $18 million to completely rebuild the area running along Massachusetts Avenue from Charter Road to Yankee Village condominiums, along Main Street from south of Beverly Road to the Hosmer House, and along the length of the private roadway, soon to become a town road, that runs from Main Street to Massachusetts Avenue near Roach Brothers. The state has paid for most of the right-of-way acquisition and will pay for almost all of the construction cost. The one item the state will not pay for is for the pedestrian scale street lights along the sidewalk. The plan showed 92 street lights, each 15.5 feet high, illuminating the entire length of the project, providing excellent lighting for the sidewalks and roadways to encourage walking and hopefully mitigating speeding cars. The state will pay for the underground conduits and wiring, but the cost of the light poles and fixtures is a local obligation. It would not be financially feasible to go back at a later time to install the conduit and wiring at our own cost, estimated at $591,000, so this is a one-time opportunity. The reallocation of funds from previous articles is possible due to the generosity of the state in absorbing some of the design costs and right-of-way costs that were local obligations, hence the leftover money. This is truly a one-time chance to put the finishing touches on the project, set to go out to bid in December of this year. There will not be an opportunity to bring this to town meeting at a later time. Item C requests the sum of $886,000 for the construction of intersection improvements at Main Street and Newtown Road, Main Street and Concord Road, and Main Street and Woodbury Lane, including the Davis Monument Triangle, and moving the horse trough. This article has been recommended by the Select Board and the Finance Committee. This area is notorious for traffic jams and a high accident rate. For a number of years, I occupied an office in the small red bungalow at 468 Main Street, and I personally observed almost daily near misses at these intersections. In fact, police department records show that between 2009 and 2014, there were 33 vehicle crashes just at the intersection of Concord Road and Main Street. Due to the poor alignment of the roadway intersections and sightline obstacles, such as a horse trough, there were frequently long lines of traffic stacked up and many frustrated drivers. Persons who are familiar with the area have developed circuitous routes through the neighborhood streets to avoid the intersections. The proposal will adjust the geometry of the intersections to allow easier turning movements, will create one-way traffic flow around the Davis Monument Triangle, and will prohibit left turn lanes pulling on to Main Street from Woodbury Lane. This is a complete streets plan, providing safer passage for vehicles including fire trucks from the center station, pedestrians, and bicycles. The plan has been reviewed by the Historic District Commission and will not introduce traffic signals onto the historic common. Item D, 53 River Street Dam Removal Grant Match, requests $250,000 for matching funds towards a request for funding from the Massachusetts Dam and Seawall Repair or Removal Program. This proposal has been recommended by the Select Board and the Finance Committee. 53 River Street is a parcel of land in South Acton which has been in industrial use since the 1830s, originally as a woolen mill and more recently as a construction yard for a paving contractor. Included on the site is a dam which held back the waters of Fort Pond Brook, which we used to power the mill. This parcel was purchased by the town in October of 2016 under Article 6, the cost of $908,000. Subsequent to the purchase, the State Office of Dam Safety declared the existing dam to be a safety hazard and required that it be repaired and maintained or removed. A special committee was formed to evaluate the site and make recommendations. The result of the outreach and study was that the dam be removed and historic artifacts be preserved, and that eventually a riverside park be developed on the site. To advance this work, in 2019, the Community Preservation Committee and Town Meeting approved $75,000 for study, permitting, and engineering. In 2020, the Community Preservation Committee and Town Meeting approved an additional $120,000 towards the effort. In February 2020, the state awarded $112,000 in a municipal vulnerability grant to assist with the project. And later in this town meeting, you'll be asked to approve an additional $100,000 in community preservation funds to continue the project. Earlier this month, the state awarded the Acton $75,000 towards continuing the design and permitting of the project, and encouraged Acton to apply for a grant for the actual construction and demolition in the fall of 2021. If approved, the amount of the grant requested from the state could be $1 million. An archaeological study of the site was recently completed, and that study will be included in the packet of materials which will be submitted as part of the Section 106 review of the proposed demolition. An engineering plan has reached the 60% design stage, dealing with the proposed demolition, historic preservation, stabilization, and ecological restoration of the brook. Eventually, after all mitigation work is completed, the area will be turned into a waterside historical park.